You're watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Hello, welcome to the All to Play For podcast, brought to you by Joe and Coral, with me, Lynsey Hipgrave, and you, Joe Cole. How's the training for the big fight going, Joe?
Yeah, it's tough, Lyns. It's tough. I was sparring with my friend Terry today. He probably got the better of me, but I've got to get that devil in me. I'm too nice. I'm like hitting him like, oh, you all right, mate? How are you? And then he's whacking me around the chop. So, yeah, it was good. But on top of the level-aside football yesterday as well, I feel pretty bad today.
You look like you're walking a bit funny.
I am. But I've got to get this fight done before I'm 40. I'm not getting punched in the head after 40.
You need to find your mean streak. That's what it is.
I know,
That's what it is. Well, we're very lucky today because joining us on the podcast is a man who won 81 caps for the Netherlands between 2004 and 2015. He's played for his country at 2 European Championships and 2 World Cups. He was a World Cup finalist in 2010, a catalyst in Man City's rise to greatness, and once scored a winning goal in a Milan derby. Some people call him the Destroyer, other people call him the Lawnmower, but to us, he's simply Nige. It's Nigel De Jong, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Nigel.
Yeah,
that is as good as a CV as we've had on the show, isn't it?
Fantastic.
I can't complain.
Lawnmower, speak to me. What's
Lawnmower. Yeah,
cover every blade of grass.
Cover every blade of grass. Yeah, and you know how they are in English.
Yeah,
with their nicknames and stuff like that. So as soon as I came to England, and playing my first couple of games, they just designed these kind of nicknames for me. So
you know
it's
who
just,
called you it?
I don't know. It's just one of the fans just said it once and
It's
just
one
picked
to
it
be
up.
proud of, though, in your
It's
position.
one to be proud of, yeah,
Definitely.
for sure. And especially under the Man City's faithful.
Yeah.
I'm always regarded as the lawnmower or the destroyer or whatsoever. The pitbull is another one. So. Yeah, I'll take these nicknames. But off the pitch, you will see I'm a completely opposite dude. So, yeah.
And you're still playing as well. How's
I'm
it
still
going?
active. Yeah, still active. I'm playing in Qatar, in Doha at the moment. It's the off season, obvious, because it's the summer there. It's plus 50 degrees, so you can't do anything. So the season will start, I think, in the beginning of September, mid-September. So I still got some time off before I head back.
What's the standard like over there?
Standard is okay. I mean, you can't compare it with the standard, obvious, in Europe. The leagues here, the domestic leagues in Europe, the Prem or the Dutch league, the German league. Well, it's a good standard. So I would say it's better than the quality that you play on now with your friends. I must say, but let's say it's like the second league. Second league level. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's doable. Yeah. I'm 37, so
mate. Listen.
I can see your eyes going there. You tempted.
Do you know what, Lyns? Right, that's the thing with me. Right? I love football, Nigel, right?
Right.
And every time I go and do a game, I have to remind myself that my legs are gone. Do you know? I'm looking at it thinking, I could do a bit of damage today.
Yeah,
but then I just think that remember that the last because I've finished my career in America and it's probably a similar level.
Yeah.
And even that was becoming tough at the end, because my body was struggling. And I retired at 37, so your age you're at now. But I think that never leaves you. I see when Nigel works with Graham Souness, he says the same thing. And Graham Souness is like 60, says he looks at the pitch and thinks,
Still thinks
I can
you can do it. Yeah.
You always will have that in your mind, being a professional athlete in whatever sport. You always have to look at the game and think you know what, I can still do a little bit of damage, on pitch, on field, wherever I am.
Yeah.
And I still have the same. And as long as I'm still bossing the midfield wherever I play, I won't retire. Yeah.
Still enjoying it.
If there's somebody else that comes next door and said listen, I'm going to be the next Nigel De Jong or the next player that can move you out of position, I'll take my hands up and say, it's enough. Enough is enough. But till that time, I'm still here.
Keeping yourself fit though.
Keeping myself fit, training a lot for myself, for years running, and do the bits and pieces in the gym.
Yeah.
And just keeping myself fit. In this age, you know what you can and what you can't do. Okay. So
I'm going to put it on Nigel now a little bit on air because I've got a charity five-a-side on Friday.
Oh, really?
Ashley Cole's playing.
Right.
Wayne Bridge, Steve Siddle for my foundation. So
Yeah.
if you wanted a run out,
Okay.
just to keep fit, and we're going to all go for a drink afterwards.
Okay.
You're more than welcome, but you don't have to give me an answer. Think about it.
I'll think about it.
I'm thinking now. If we get Nigel in, we're winning.
I'm sure he might have a better offer.
Could you
for
see
Friday
yourself
night,
already
but-
lifting the cup after that five side?
We want the trophy.
And Nigel, we've got the first semi-final tomorrow.
Yeah.
It really feels like this tournament has just flown over, doesn't it? How much have you enjoyed it so far?
I loved it. I loved every second of it. It's a great Euros so far. We've seen a lot of upsets. We've seen a lot of great games. A lot of drama and emotional roller coasters, as I would say, during this Euros. And I'm looking forward to the semi-finals. If you look at the first one, Italy against Spain, it's a great semi-final with two great nations, having a lot of history on tournaments. If it is the World Cup or the Euros, and obvious the other one when it's England against Denmark. So I'm looking forward to both of them.
We'll talk about England's glorious night against Ukraine very shortly. But what stood out for you from the other quarterfinals?
From the Italy one, of course, Spain wasn't their best. If I look at Spain, the way how they've been set up, but Italy for Italy, for me, Italy is the clear favorite. And we're talking about the full package. If you're talking about energy, intensity, everything, it feels like these 26 guys in that team are ready to go to war any time of the day, any day of the week, and they have that kind of passion about them. They're saying like, we can't stop for anybody. So for me, they're clear favorite, but we all know in football, everything can happen because it's only a game of 90 minutes.
Even if you think, what do you think the Wembley factor will be? Let's just say, because we're English and we love to get in front of ourselves, England win, we go to the final, Italy win. Even at Wembley, do you not think that's a factor? We're going to have 65,000, 70,000?
Somewhere around that number, yeah. No,
that becomes
definitely.
a factor?
It will become a big factor, yeah. Of course, they show that they can play well, England, in another place, exactly what we've seen in Rome. But I think in Wembley, now semis, and then the final, when they reach the final in Wembley, it's going to be a huge advantage because, it's not only going to be Italian fans. Majority is going to be English fans, in Wembley. So that's going to be their home advantage. Could also be a disadvantage because of the amount of pressure that's going to be on the shoulder. As a professional footballer, that sometimes it's just building this tension up so much that you at the end have spaghetti legs, that I always say. You're just like, it's too much tension. So let's hope they will not have this kind of tension in their legs. But I think it's going to be a big advantage for them to play on Wembley for sure.
Wow.
And going back to Italy as well, did you respect their sort of dark arts in that match, or is it just cheating?
Well, I was never a fan. Don't get me. I was never a fan of rolling around and just like faking injuries or faking fouls whatsoever. But nowadays it's part of the game. You got to deal with it. We all knew that about Italy. It's nothing new. This has been there for years already. And there's one word that is really important in Italian football. It's catenaccio. Catenaccio means when you defend, or when you're ahead, when you're leading a goal, you come back and you defend and you lead it no matter what. It doesn't have to be with good football. It's just about result. Because at the end of the day, it's about going to the next stage.
By any means.
By any means. So you got to respect that. Even though you don't like it, but you have to respect that.
No, for sure.
That shot of Immobile, though, that's one of the most embarrassing instances of
that Immobile.
Nigel's played in England. For us, that is just, it's shameful. Do you know what I mean? But in Italy, when it be mentioned, it's part of the theatre, part of the, what they do. But in England, I've played in dressing rooms when players, but when I was in America, a couple of times, did something like that. And I just absolutely just volleyed them because I'm like, you can't do that. But they're like, we want a free kick. I'm like, it's an English, the English gentleman culture of us. But we, it's crept a little bit more. I can see English players being a bit more smarter now than we was. I remember once talking to Rio in the Champions League final. I should have gone down for a penalty. Rio's absolutely cleaned me out at 1-1, and I tried to, like an idiot, I tried to stay on my feet and try and get the ball. And we were talking about it the other day. I completely forgot about it. And he said to me, he made the tackle, and he said, because he was cramping up, it was like 85th minute. And he said, so I just had to lunge, and I said, I did it. And if it would have been a foreign player, they would have gone over. Do you know what I mean? It's funny, because that was like 12, 13
You're trying to do the honest thing.
I was trying to do the honest thing, because it's bred into you as an English player, but the Italians, it's different. So, and it's an advantage.
It's true. It is an advantage. And what you said, it is something that you've been growing up in. In a certain system that you've been playing in. For me as well. In the academy that I was in Ajax Amsterdam, you can't roll around. That's a no-go. Like, you stand up. As long as you can give, you can receive. And that was always my mindset growing up. So rolling around was never part of the game. But what I said, Italians have a different way of looking at the football. It's a complete package for them. And what is that? It's result football. Because nobody thinks about, the next day and talking about the next day, how you've been going to the semi-finals or the final. It's all about the momentum. So Italians know that like no others, and especially with the likes of Bonucci, the likes of Chiellini. Do you see the passion they have if they make a tackle?
My kids,
De Bruyne with Chiellini, I think was one of my favourite moments of the whole tournament, where that rocket from De Bruyne came towards him. and he just stuck his head on it, and the smile between him and De Bruyne, who doesn't really show emotion a lot on the pitch. It was just that mutual respect, and he did his little flex afterwards.
I love that.
It.
My kids love the Italian national anthem. Because they watched them because them players when they sing it, and I'm like, even I'm not even Italian, but I'm watching them sing it, and I'm like, that is brilliant.
You want to learn it?
Italia.
But that shows you the passion they have for football, the passion to win. And you can't forget, they're 33 games unbeaten.
Yeah, it's incredible.
33 games international. We're not talking about domestic league, and to get 33 games unbeaten in the space of 2.5 years, you know how hard it is. So for them to do that says something about the team, about the moral, about the confidence that they have and belief.
Yeah.
So for that only, they're my favorites. But once again, they still have to show it against Spain because it's not done.
Were they your favourites at the start, or have you kind of changed as it's gone along?
I was not completely backing them from the start, I gotta be honest, because I was backing my own country. You know, I think that's the best thing to do. But if you see how they progressed during the tournament and the way how they've been playing together as a unit, as a real proper team, yeah, of course. For me, they're the playing favorites with the passion, with the intensity, the energy. And what I said before, I mean, these 26 players plus staff, they are ready to go to war any day of the week. And you could see that. You know, you could clearly see that the way how they show themselves on the pitch. So I think that comes apart with the national anthem as well, how they do it and how the passion they showed. So I think they're playing favorites. But we can't oversee the semi-finals. They still have to play against Spain, and Spain is a good squad. I mean, you know, they have the momentum as well on the tournament.
I got them from the start, so got the good price at the beginning.
Can't
get it anymore.
Yeah,
you couldn't give Joe a tip.
No, she's not like that. She's quite nasty sometimes. But she, Lynn's like, you've got a gambling problem. You can tell the people.
Just major tournaments and the Grand National, but yeah, no, I'm quite pleased I got them from the start, and Harry Kane to be top scorer as well.
That is incredible.
When it was, I think, 16-1, and then after Saturday night it went right down. So I
you're in
think
for
it's
chance.
still possible.
Imagine, you'd think England will get a penalty with all the dribblers as well. So that's in the next 2 games. Maybe he only needs 1 game.
It's only 2 back, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 main guys are already out.
Yeah.
They pay out on a joint golden boot as well. They're half the odds.
Yeah.
So the drinks are on Lynsey at the end of tournament party.
So
to play for.
Wish I'd never said anything now. Right, England are 6-4 favourites with Coral to win the whole competition. Italy 2-1, and Spain 11-4, and Denmark, the rank outsiders, at 9-1. But let's, Nigel, sorry to do this, talk about Holland. It started so well, didn't it? 8 goals scored in the group stage, and then came up against the Czech Republic. What went wrong?
I think what went wrong is the true belief to go to the next stage. You know, everybody's trying to look for some answers, and of course, try to ask the players as well what went wrong. Of course, one of the main problems that we had before the tournament is missing one of our main leaders, maybe the leader, in Virgil van Dijk. You know, he's such an influential player for this squad. The way how he set players in, the way how he always sets the tone defensive-wise, on and off the pitch. And he's really the typical player that puts you on your place when something goes wrong. He really is critical to his players. So I think that was a major blow. On the other side, if the Euros were to play last year, we would miss out of Memphis Depay. So it was like a kind of a balanced thing, who was dropping out and who was still in the team. But nevertheless, we had to play this game against Czech Republic, and we just missed the belief, we missed the intensity, the proper energy to play this game, and you have to give credit where credit's due, and the Czech were all over us.
You don't think that just the sending off then, that wasn't the key thing? It was the whole.
Of course, eventually it was the key thing, because until that point we had half a chances. We never really had the chances that really the full created chances that we could go 1-0 up. So it was kind of a momentum shift, of course, after that red card was in place. But what you see most of the times when somebody got a red card or a team got a red card, teams with 10 men eventually will lift themselves up and probably play better even, with 10 men. And we just dropped to a certain level that was abnormal for our standard. And what I said, the belief was gone. We already thought that we were losing the game, and it was still 0-0 at the time. I mean, everything was still to play for. So it was just a lack of intensity, a lack of belief, and a lack of proper characters. Just to say, like, hey, listen, we got 10 men, but I mean, we're all to play for. If we go down, at least we go down with blood on our hands, because that's the proper. That's the
you need
proper
the big
way.
players to step up.
You have to step up, you know, and they lack that, and they know that from themselves. I know all of them in the Dutch team, and they know that from themselves, and they have to reflect back and look at themselves in the mirror and saying like, what did I do wrong, instead of pointing fingers to somebody else.
What about the manager, Nigel? What would the future hold for the Dutch team?
You know, he's sacked, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So-
I didn't realise it was in his contract that he had to get to a quarter final.
Yeah, because that was you know, like we always put standards in our national team.
Yeah.
And that's also due to the fact, because of the generation that we were in and before us, is that in every major tournament that we've been, we always reach at least the quarter final.
Yeah.
Every coach that comes in have to reach a quarter final tournament wise, otherwise it is a mission failed.
Right.
So for him as well. So it was too much pressure. Because when we went out in the last 16s, I mean, the amount of stuff that came over him, above the players, it was no situation for him to hold on to anymore. So he just threw in the towel in the ring and just say, you know what, I'm gonna step up myself instead of, you know, me getting sacked.
Okay.
In a
Did you
mutual
think he was
agreement.
the right man when he was appointed?
Well, we all were skeptical, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Especially because Koeman has such a great influence on his team. Frank de Boer didn't have the best record when you see to his managerial role. He had short spells everywhere he went. Inter, Crystal Palace, Atalanta.
Yeah.
He only had a good spell at Ajax Amsterdam for 4 years when he became
started,
champion. So he became champion 4 times in a row. So he didn't have the most impressive CV. But nevertheless, I always had the confidence in him just to take it over. But what I said, you know, sometimes a big name as a player never always gives you the guarantee to be a good coach. And it's about managing players. And, you know, he didn't have the greatest start with the national team. He lost a couple of games, drew a couple of games. So you know how the nation always try to shift and always try to compare. So it was never really going in the right direction for him. And unfortunately, of course, we all see what's going on right now. So now we have to look for a new coach.
Who would you like to see take over?
I mean, I would love to see a foreign manager. You know.
Really?
Yeah, because we always tend to look at managers.
It didn't work out for England.
Yeah, it did not.
I know, but look at the likes. Okay, Martinez now is out, but I mean, he did a great job, you know, with Belgium as well. So,
Sorry, Nigel, do you think that's because, like, from our perspective, looking at the Dutch football, we're great admirers of it in this country, but you're very like inclusive. Do you think, like, whenever I've played with Dutch players and they've got this, because you've got the Cruyff and the big history, the way they're playing, do you think sometimes so what you're saying is you need someone from the outside to come in just for a new perspective, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're always so based and so attached to the way of thinking that we had when we were growing up. The Dutch way of thinking, playing in a certain style, 4-3-3, certain players, certain way to go forward and backward. So I think sometimes it's good to get some influence from the outside as well. And I think this is the time now. You know, also because you can't forget we missed back-to-back tournaments. We missed 2016, we missed 2018.
Wow.
So, and now going on in the last 16, even though we had the best possible route to go to at least to the semi-final.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for us to make a little change. And we got some great managers in Holland, you know, the likes of Louis van Gaal, Giovanni van Bronckhorst, Henk ten Kate, Giovanni van Bronckhorst, you know, Ruud Gullit is also still available.
Yeah.
So we still got managers, but it seems like the federation can't make their minds up. And
Do you have someone in mind who you would go for?
I would love to see Arsene Wenger. You know,
Wow.
Arsene
Not a bad
Wenger.
shout.
That's a massive shout.
You know,
that.
Arsene Wenger. Who else you got? The likes of maybe a Pochettino. You know, a little Argentinian blood in there. Just like a little bit of passion and desire. You know, I would love to see Diego Simeone one time. You know, like for me, I love managers that have like. Character, you know, like they can get the best out of you. So you don't have to be the best tactical wise, but I love managers that can drive you to the best. You know, and that's why I always love Van Gaal. Van Gaal was one of those, like, you know, he can always drive the best out of you, even though he can make you crazy sometimes. But it is always for your own good. And I think these players right now in the national team, you know, they're too accustomed to a certain kind of style, too accustomed to a certain way of looking at football. So, I would love to see a foreign manager. So, I just throw it out there.
No,
maybe he's
good.
listening.
it's good.
Mr. Wenger.
Yeah.
So I would love to see.
Let's see, Mr. Wenger, if he starts getting connected to the job, he needs to send you some money if he gets it. That's a great shout. That is arson. I like that.
Anyway, you're out, so let's talk about England.
Linz, you've got to stop doing this to our guests.
Oh my God, that was a blow. Like, I tried to give my heart, I put my heart out here on the table. Well, anyway, you're out.
Yeah.
That's done and dusted. That was your 5 minutes of fame about the national team.
Every one of the guests, there's always one incident. Ali McCoist, Scottish guy, she compared Scotland to Panama just before the England Cup. I was like, Linz, don't do that. Don't, no.
Oh, and then you have to tell that to Ali McCoist, the most passionate guy.
I know.
It didn't work out well for me, though, Nigel. It really didn't. But what did you think about Saturday night, about the result and the performance from England?
I think it was a great performance. I mean, if you win 4-0, 4-0 against the Ukraine in Rome, you still have to do it. Everybody already said beforehand, England's going to win, England's going to win.
Yeah.
But you still have to play the game. It's only a one game. So I love the performance. I love the fact that Harry Kane just found his momentum again because everybody was critical about him, skeptical as well about his form in the tournament. And just the likes of Luke Shaw who comes to life again. Kyle Walker who comes to life again. The midfield players who come to life. So I love the fact that everybody's always been so skeptical, but these players just developed themselves in proper players and proper tournament footballers. So it was a great result for them. They still got 2 hurdles to go. And let's hope to the semis, But I think for you as well, like looking at England, you as an Englishman, and also you've been in the tournament and in a great generation of squads, you must have been looking at this squad like they have the right momentum. Because you guys had a fantastic generation.
Nigel.
It never happened.
It never happened for us. We've gone over it, and it was so funny. Do you know what it was, Nigel? We had the tensions between the Liverpool players, the Manchester United and the Chelsea players. We were so divided. How we were just on the pitch, and Sven, bless him, I love him. He gave me all my caps, and Steve as well. They never addressed it. And brought them together. So we was always a collection of individuals rather than a good team.
Right.
And that's why we didn't do it. But this team, Gareth, I played with Gareth, and you couldn't pick a better man to lead this group of players because he's experienced the heartache of missing the penalty in the semi-final in '96. He's been a captain everywhere he's gone. He's just a natural born leader, but he's compassionate as well. Like he did an interview today, and a few days ago, and he was like, he said he's really concerned about the players that are not played yet,
spending all his time thinking about it.
And that's the kind of guy he is. Like he makes sure he has time for everyone, and the boys are responding to him. And we're just all so excited as English. You
got to give him respect as well, man. I mean, back-to-back semi-finals. You know what I mean?
But really, when you think, going back, when he got the job, it was only by default, really, because Sam Allardyce was in charge, and then there was a bit of a newspaper incident, shall we say, and he was brought in, and a lot of people were completely underwhelmed that he was given the job. But sort of when you look in from the outside, what do you think of the ways he's got that sort of bond back between the players and the fans?
I think that is so important, what Joe said as well. I think he's an absolute stud. Gareth is an absolute stud. The way how he represents himself, the way how he's always calm doing interviews, always have some spare time to talk to you about whatever. It never looks in a rush. He never looks like to be under pressure as well, and that reflects also on the team. That I always said, like the manager is the team is a reflection of the manager.
Yeah.
And you can tell that by how England is developing themselves now. And of course you have egos and stuff like that. But he got his way to make sure that everybody's on one page. Yeah. And in tournament football, you need to do that. Yeah. It is not a domestic league. You don't have 40 games just to try to make it.
Yeah.
So what he does is an incredible job. You have to give him the respect that he deserves. And I think the nation really fully understands now, like, okay, he's the main guy.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about other managers again. I don't want to hear no rumors we're going to replace Gareth Southgate. He's the one. And the fact also that he put Jadon Sancho in after Jadon Sancho has been out there, for the last 5 games. And then give him a place in the starting 11 says something also.
And he delivered.
And he delivered. But it gives you a great signal to the rest of the squad. Because the rest of the squad are thinking as well, like, hey, I'm still part of it. If he starts, then I can start maybe the next game. So what happens? You go in training
Yeah.
They give 100%.
Yeah.
And also, I'm thinking, where's Grealish, where's Foden? But we didn't really need them at that point. And the choice to then give players who we haven't really seen minutes, that just keeps it much more unified as well.
How he's done it, he's just staggering how he's kept everyone engaged.
You're watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Tuesday. This is why you love international football. Thursday. The best ever goalless draw. Saturday. These guys might be underdogs, but you wouldn't miss this match. Every match day matters. So every time you collect 3 matchday stamps, you get a £5 free bet. Matchday rewards from Coral.
And he went straight up to Grealish at the end of the match, the player who didn't play, and put his arm around him and said something. And I was wondering what he said. Maybe we're going to need you in the semi-final going forward. But that I thought was smart.
It's fantastic. And I remember that after they won against Germany, there was a story coming out that Calvert-Lewin was put outside of the squad, and he's supposed to be. He was very disappointed whatsoever. But if you look at the images after the game, Calvert-Lewin was hugging Gareth Southgate after. So that says something about him also be able to say, listen, block all the noise outside. What we do inside is what's most important. And I'll give you the belief, and I'll give you an opportunity once you come on the pitch. Once the game is done, or once there is an opportunity for you to play, I give you an opportunity. And he's doing an amazing job. And I'm looking always to all these details, what he's doing. And I mean, he's just that guy that the players believe in, you know, and it's always hard and skeptical at the beginning of a tournament. But now he's doing an amazing job. So let's hope they go through the next stage. And
but you are supporting England, Nigel, right? You do want England,
of course.
We're at
I'm supporting England. Come on, you can't say no, about England. But I'm just saying, if Italy comes in the final, even though they play on Wembley, and Italy having a manager who understands Wembley, who understands England, Mancini, it's going to be a tough task for them. I'm just saying that. So I can't make a prediction now. England's going to win it all the way. I would love to say that, but I mean, I've been in Italy before as well. I know some players in the squad as well.
You know them,
that Mancini factor is a worry, though. Would you much rather face Spain if it were to get to that point?
Definitely Italy are the team. I can accept that. Spain can cause you problems, but with Spain, I think England's physicality would overwhelm them defensively. I mean, Garcia, the lad at Man City, he's done very well in Laporte. But I think the speed of Sancho, Sterling, Harry Kane backing it, I think he could deal with it. But Bonucci and Chiellini, they're seasoned veterans. They know how to do it.
And Spain, they don't have a proper striker.
True.
In the front line, they can't score goals easy. If they come to a defense where it's like hard to get chances in, there's nobody out there. They have to be clinical. Morata's not the clinical guy for you. Moreno is on top. He's not a clinical guy. And from the side, you can't have it. With the likes of Torres at the other side, Alba and somebody else there on that side. So they're not clinical enough in the front. And as well, the way how they've been playing, they're exposed a lot. Once you go past that midfield, you have so much space. And England, when you go between the lines, Italy up front with Insigne, Immobile, Barella. I think Italy will go through.
Come on, Spain. So it's England against Denmark, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. You've obviously been in Netherlands squads, which have got to semi-finals, 2010, 2014. What would your advice be to those England players as they get ready to go into battle?
I think just have the same determination and same focus. You have to respect Denmark. They're in the semi-finals, and the way how they are playing with a lot of belief and also with a lot of emotion. Of course, with what happened with Eriksen. So they have the momentum for them. So you can't take that away from Denmark. They will come with the self-belief and also being the underdog. So they have nothing to lose. They're already in the semi-final. They have nothing to lose. So England needs to have their 100% dedication, 100% focus, and just go in the game with belief.
I think this game's a problem. I said before the Ukraine game, I think this is just run-of-the-mill. Ukraine were dead on their feet in the last 16. They had no threat behind England. So the only way I could see there being a threat is if England had a silly sending-off and the Ukraine goalkeeper had the game of his life. But this is a proper game against Denmark. This is a good team. Christensen, Kjær and who's the boy at Southampton? My mind's gone.
No.
Vestergaard. Sorry, I had brain fuzz. I told you I've been taking too many shots to the head this morning. Right, so them three at the back, I think they're solid. Delaney in the midfield, I think he's got great legs. Højbjerg, so they've got a balance. They've got like. So I think if I'm Gareth, the smart thing to do would to go back to the three at the back and match them up and be confident you got the better players in attacking areas on the pitch to hurt them. And just, the great thing that England have got is we can make 5 subs, Linz, and our 5, we could effectively have, coming off the bench, Mount, Grealish, Foden, Sancho, Rashford.
It's frightening.
That is frightening. There's no other team left in this who've got that quality coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the game will be won Wednesday night.
Yeah.
How did you get ready for the biggest games of your career? Did you do things differently?
Not really. I always had like just a normal setup before a game, and it also counts for the semi-finals and the final. Eventually, also in 2010. The only thing that I try to do is just avoid all the incoming calls and requests for tickets.
Yeah,
that was one of the things that I always said. Like, you know what, my mom's deals with that. You do that, mom. If you wanted tickets or whatever, you deal that on that side. I don't want to have last minute requests about do you have any spare tickets left and whatsoever. So that was probably the only thing that I really left out of it. But apart from that, it was always just go back to normal and just prepare in a normal way.
Did that always get annoying where you found yourself the most popular man in the world?
My same thing. My dad used to deal with the tickets, and my dad, like, I used to get as many tickets. It's like tickets line up, and I just give my dad 20, 30 tickets for the games, and he would give them out. He loved it. He had his lovely at Chelsea. He'd be going out and he'd be dishing them out to all the kids in the street. He loved it, So but when big games come along, the requests come in. But I wanted to ask Nigel, because the World Cup final. I mean, how was that as a day? Because I only got to quarterfinals in tournaments,
right?
But to play in the big one, was that different, or was it?
It was different. I cannot lie that it was different. You just act out here, just like it was a normal day. Now, of course, it was the whole build up towards it, And back then, we never really had social media. You have to understand. So the momentum was not, the pressure was not as big as it is nowadays, because you can read, you can see what's going on. So we were quite blocked off from everybody. But of course, when you looked out at your window, all the fans were outside of the hotel. Also the road towards it, when you're in the bus towards the stadium, just is packed, the police escort whatsoever. And then you actually comes towards the stadium, and then you get the nerves are starting and kicking. And especially knowing that you're going to start. I was starting the whole season, but just the fact that you're starting, you're going to line up against Iniesta, you're going to line up against Xavi, David Silva. It was a proper Spanish team. So we were so prepared to play against them. So it was just the nerves of kicking in, playing the first pass right. Going into that situation, not getting an early yellow card whatsoever. So then you come in the dressing room, and you see the pre-show going on. We had all these televisions in the dressing room. If you remember, Shakira was there. Like that whole song and that team, and the show was going on and stuff like that, and everybody was watching the television.
Some of the lads I played with, we wouldn't have been able to put Shakira on the TV before. We'd have had to just like the concentration levels would have been too much. Put that away.
Exactly. So eventually, the coach just turned off all the television, all the television off. We just got to concentrate on this, and then obviously you go into that routine of getting your massages on, getting your routine on. When it comes down to maybe a little exercise before you go in the warm up, and when you come out, I remember these vuvuzelas. Remember the trumpets.
Annoying wasps. Drove me mad the whole time.
So it was just one of those. You came out, and it was just like, it was a full arena. It was like 80,000 of these things. So it was just you had to take it in. And for me, the most nerve-wracking moment was when you walk down the tunnel and the trophy was there. You had to walk this thing. So we're talking about you walking the tunnel left, Spain was right. The trophy was in the middle, and you could not look at it. And we all said to each other, "Don't look at it. Don't even dare to touch it. Or go close there. Go just past it." And we just like, I was twitching, like, you want to look at it, when you
want to touch it.
It was like twitching, right? Like, and you just go walk past it. Yeah, that was the most nerve-wracking.
And you were suspended for the semi-final, so did that make you even more pumped up for it?
And we could see how pumped I was after 30 minutes in.
We all saw,
See how pumped I was.
Has Alonso forgiven you yet?
I haven't spoken to him.
English ref, wasn't it? It was an English
ref.
Howard Webb.
Yeah, it was till this day.
Do you think that helped your cause?
I think so.
Because you could. you know, you always had that, like, I always like to have a relationship with a ref. Do you know what I mean? So, cause
I did the same thing in
Yeah,
England. You know how
yeah.
English referees are, right? You can
Yeah.
talk to them, you can swear them, they swear back. It was
Yeah.
no issue back
Yeah.
then. You know, now it's
Yeah.
a kind of sensitive area
Yeah.
where we live in, but back then it was different.
yeah.
He said he with hindsight, it should have been a red.
course, of course.
His view was obstructed. Did you at the time feel really lucky?
I was, but in my mindset, I was going for the ball. So, you know, we were seeing this situation, I think a couple of days ago with Gabriel Jesus.
He's been
You know?
watching your highlights. reel,
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. Oh,
Yeah,
trust me,
yeah.
I've been tagged in the social media many times. But he was, if you look at him, he was like going over and he was looking at the ball, not knowing that the
Yeah,
defender was there.
yeah.
I did the same thing. I was looking at the ball watching,
Yeah.
not knowing Alonso came in.
Yeah.
So when I connected, obvious I was like, oh, that's bad. But
Yeah.
not knowing that it would have been a red card.
Yeah.
So I
When
was
you
lucky
look
to
at
get a
the
yellow
still
card.
photos of it, you can see your eye. In fairness, your eyes are on the ball.
Yeah, my fans were eyes on the ball,
Yeah.
and obviously I connected, and I couldn't hold myself back anymore. It's just, I went. for it.
You sound like his lawyer. Do you know what I mean? Defense lawyer.
His defense, like,
Your
yeah,
Honour, his eyes are on the ball.
yeah.
Did you immediately think I'm off?
Yeah, I thought so straight away. But then obviously I went to Howard Webb and I put my hands up straight away, you know, like I didn't see him coming. I didn't see him coming. And lucky enough for me and for all the Dutch players, we knew how we could talk English with him as well.
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
Spanish
yeah,
were kind of yeah. I took him at his side and said like, listen, you know, Howard, I didn't see him coming. Don't make a ridiculous decision now 30 minutes in the game, you know, you spoil the whole final. So I think that also
That was
made
key,
him
the
think.
timing.
That was key timing. So I think that was made him think as well. You know what? Just give me a yellow for that. But obviously he was right, and I would say that now as well. It was always a red card.
Yeah.
But at that time I was very lucky.
Do you know? I remember watching that game, and Arjen Robben, who I played with, who I
Yeah.
think's a genius, and
Yeah.
when he went through on goal against Casillas, you must have been thinking, because he don't miss.
No.
What was you thinking at that moment?
I was going through the ground, to be honest,
Yeah.
because this was a typical game. Whoever scored first would win it.
100%.
And there's an image for me when Robbins misses, and you see the toe poke of Casillas. I'm in a straight line, so you see me with my knees on the ground like that. That's a perfect image. Of me. So that's saying like I knew then. You know, that was one of the biggest opportunities for us as a national team we were so close to winning it. So I was just, you know, one of those things that you play over and over and over, and it wasn't that meant to be. You know, the thing like I didn't get a red card, he missed it. It was just one of those things that just summed up for us not to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Did you speak to Alonso ever about it afterwards?
No, never about it. But I think for sure in the near future we will see each other. He's a coach now as well. You know, he's in a managerial role, so I don't know how our paths will cross. But I would never speak. I never spoke to him about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he won a World Cup, so
exactly.
he's not really fussed about it. You know,
I'd take a flight
You know,
from Nigel to win
he
the World
took
Cup.
I wouldn't.
He took it on the chair. He took it as a man. He stood up. He played the game out. He won a World Cup. So be, you know. So it's just one of those moments in history that will always be remembered. But at the end of the day, you know, I wish I could never have made that tackle and still had that trophy. But I made a tackle and not win it. So at the end of the day, it was in my disadvantage and it was not beneficial for me. So he's the one who will still have the
It's
trophy
history
listed.
though, isn't it? That's the thing. That must
Yeah.
be really nice. It's the iconic image from
It is.
that World Cup and
It is.
and the game being known as the Battle of Johannesburg. And that shot
it was a battle, by the way. Oh my days! It was like
Yeah,
how many
I
yellow
remember.
cards? 14 yellow cards,
14,
2 red
like
cards.
28 fouls or something.
Which is
wasn't it?
unusual in a final.
It is unusual.
It's unusual.
It is
like-
unusual.
Was that the game plan beforehand? Did you?
It was the game plan, yeah, because we would never outplay Spain. The way how they were playing, they coming off a win in 2018, European champion, and their momentum was just there for them to win it also in the World Cup 2010. So we could never outplay them.
They
So
had
we
6 midfielders on the pitches, weren't there? There's no strikers.
No,
so
they're
like,
not
you
strikers,
know
no.
you're not going to hold the ball.
You're not going to hold the ball. And my job with Van Bommel on the midfield, Mark, we were just like, okay, whoever comes in our zone, just make your presence
Make them
feel.
suffer.
Make them suffer every time. Just a little nibble here, nibble there. And that was our mindset, just to get them out of their routine of playing football. And they can all play there. But once they come to our final third, it was game on. So that was our mindset.
I feel your pain, mate. That what you said when you described that Robben going for on goal, because exactly the same thing happened to me in the Champions League final. It's the John Terry, the width of the goalpost.
Oh.
Never seen him miss a penalty before,
And then that happens.
And there's nothing you can do about it. It's just history, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to move on. But yeah,
It's tough.
I feel your
tough,
pain.
man. It's tough. Trust me, it's tough. Yeah.
Listen, Friday night, the finalist tournament, we can win some trophies, some silverware.
You have a replica. You have a replica.
There's a trophy there, mate.
Okay.
Well, your odds with Coral ahead of that England semi-final. Kieran Trippier to have an assist and Kane to have 4 or more shots is 13-2. You can back John Stones to score first and England to win 3-0 at 135-1. And if you think the boy from Brent will do it again in his own back garden, of course he's going to. Of
course he will.
You can back Raheem the Dream to score a hat-trick
Raheem
on
the
Wednesday
Dream.
night
Linz, you've just killed it there. Wow.
for odds of 150-1.
Quote of the show, by the way. Raheem the Dream.
I love him. Absolutely brilliant. Nigel, it's time now for what really happened. And this is where we look back on a moment of your career that we want to know more about. So we're going to take you back to the World Cup 2014, the quarterfinal against Costa Rica and Brazil. Now, I know you weren't playing. You had an injury, didn't you?
I had an injury,
I
I injured myself before that.
And it's when Louis van Gaal substituted Jasper Cillessen.
Yeah.
What was it, 120 minutes? 120
Yeah.
minutes for Tim Krul in that
I think
one?
it was just before the end of the extra time. So we're talking about the 190th minute or something like that. 118,
What were you
119.
thinking at that point when he made that substitution?
I mean, we as players, we were not even surprised because Tim Krul, he is a penalty killer. You know, he's been training with goalkeepers during the whole tournament and also still looking at his stats. And he is a serious penalty killer. Like, you know, he can save a ball.
Yeah.
And Cillessen just was not good enough.
Yeah.
You have to be fair in that sense. And we knew that as player in the player group.
Yeah.
But when he made that move, it wasn't surprising, but it was surprising because it takes a big pair for you to have as a coach to make that sub as well.
Yeah.
So when he did that, it was just like, is he serious? Is he really going to do it? And then obviously, you know, the whole momentum shifted and said like, you know what, we actually have a great chance right now. You know, we have a fantastic chance to go through. And we all know what happened after. You know, he saved a couple of penalties and we went to the semis.
I think that's an interesting tactic now, especially now with the 5 substitutions. Like, if you've got a goalkeeper, there might be a goalkeeper who's a specialist in penalties somewhere in England, you know, and you could bring them along as your third choice keeper.
Yeah.
You could, you know, they could be just practicing penalties more than the other, know that. And psychologically, if you know you're playing against a team and they brought on a specialist straight away for the penalty takers, well,
I'm a Newcastle fan, so I wasn't surprised at all. You've got to do it. Was it pre-planned though, or just?
I think it was Van Gaal never does anything out of the blue. You know, he pre-plans everything. So 100%, he just spoke with his staff about it before the game because he knows in a final, in the last 16 and a quarter or semi, you know, there's a possibility to go to penalties. So he pre-plans everything. Yeah. And that was the genius side of Van Gaal. He didn't care about the public opinion. He didn't care what was good for the media or whatsoever. He only cared about what was good for his team to win games. You know, I mean, to put Dirk Kuyt as a left wing back. Even though Kuyt was the main man for Liverpool right winger. I mean, it says something about knowing what your team can and can't do, you know, in the system that we play 3-5-2. So I wasn't even faced. He wasn't even faced about it. So when Krul came in, that was for us the moment like, okay, we have to stand behind the coach because he knows what he's doing. And
it worked out well.
And it worked out. And, you know, it could go both ways, right? Yeah. But now he's regarded as a genius because he made that step, you know, and everybody in the football world was shocked. Like, what? What did he do?
I like it. It'd be something, if I was a coach, it'd be something I'd consider because I think, I said before this
You're not mean enough to do it.
No. You'd have to pull it. I'd go to the, say Pickford, I'd say, look, Jordan, this is the situation. This is your stats on penalties, but
would you tell him beforehand?
I say, look, I'm going to say, look, if we go to penalties, I think it's better for the team because he's been working on it. Blah, blah, blah. It'll give us a psychological advantage. Yeah. And I think the way Gareth is with his group, I think he could sell it. You have to sell an idea like that. You have to sell it to your group. Yeah. And I think he could do it. But Jordan Pickford is actually pretty good at saving penalties, I think.
Don't say that. Yeah. Kiss of death.
I know, man. I'm getting nervous now.
I forgot Van Gaal. Ruud Hesp. Yeah. You know, was at Barcelona. He was the goalkeeper coach. Yeah. He spoke to him about it. And Van Gaal, he said to Silas, inside of the dressing room when team meetings, he knows, he said it also in the group, like, you're not the penalty specialist.
Yeah.
But not saying actually like when it comes down to penalties, I will change you. No, but he's honest. He's brutally honest.
Yeah.
So he said it also to Silas, like, you're not a specialist.
How did he take it? What was he like afterwards?
No, he can't. Silas is a timid guy. So he's not the type of guy who's like have a word back and say, hey, no, he's not the type of guy. So he takes it on board, you know, but he has to be honest to himself because at the end of the day, it's about winning.
Yeah,
so it's not about your ego at that
exactly.
point. You have to take the ego out of the equation and say like, what is good for the team?
Yeah.
And of course he was not happy. We've seen the reaction of him coming off.
Yeah.
But Van Gaal mentioned it to you. Listen, you got to step up your game to be a penalty killer.
Yeah,
you have to step up your game to be a specialist.
He's dropped the seed in there, give him the warning to let him know what might be coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clever.
And in training sessions, we always try to put an extra effort in when Silas was on goal.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, like, listen, you got to step up your game.
Yeah,
we were the type of group who said, like, okay, we heard it. Now we're going to even more hammer your weak point.
Yeah.
We're going to hammer your weak point so you get better at it.
Yeah,
you know?
Keep testing him.
Keep testing.
That mentality is why the Dutch are the biggest, because the size of the country achieves so much on a football sense because they've got such a great mentality. The players about, you know, I play with Dutch players. They are winners. You know, they can. On the pitch, they can fall out and but they're winners, and that's probably why. Because what's the population of Holland?
Only 16.
That's
16
incredible
million.
that they.
16 million.
It's incredible that they do what
Yeah.
they do in the football world.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, we got good.
Destroyers.
Yeah.
Not all of us.
Only the special one.
Only the special. Yeah.
Nigel, we're going to get some semi-final predictions from you now. What is your prediction then for that first semi-final, Italy against Spain?
I think it's gonna be 3-1 Italy. Yeah, I think it's gonna be 3-1 Italy. Especially when Italy is gonna score first. I think Spain needs to come. They will open up, and you know how Italy's gonna set up. They're gonna sit back and go for that counter because they've got fantastic players. So I think when they can overcome that midfield, especially create and finalize the spaces between the lines and behind Busquets, because that main guy, Busquets and Pedri. Yeah, I think when they can exploit those spaces, it's all game over for Spain. They don't have the best defense, you know, with Torres and Laporte in that center. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a 3-1 for Italy.
We know you want a Spain win, but what's the score going to be, do you think?
I think Italy will win. I think it'll be a tight game than people think. I think it might even be one of them. So I'm going to back a draw and Italy to go through on penalties as well because the goalkeeper's super as well. Donnarumma, I mean, Nigel knows, but he's impressed me as well.
Yeah,
everything
very good, isn't he?
Oh, he's fantastic. You know, he's only, he's now 21, 22.
Incredible.
You have to understand, you know, he's been in the national team already since he was 17. You know,
and the pressure to be Buffon's successor, that's enormous.
But I know him from Milan. When he came in as a young kid, he had such a cool vibe over him.
Really?
He was such a great guy, you know, so relaxed, always laughing. Always patience. If he played, he played. If he didn't play, and of course, as a young kid, you know, you cannot ask for stuff. But the moment that he took his chance and opportunity to play, because Christian Abbiati was the first goalkeeper back then. He never left. And that says something about the mentality that you have to have in that age. Yeah. You know, he doesn't never do dumb things and stupid things on the pitch. And for a reason why he's successor of Buffon. Because as good as Buffon is, nobody really talks about him anymore. Yeah. Because of Donnarumma. Donnarumma is the number one. Of course, you got to give respect to the legend that he is. Yeah. But I love him. I know him quite well, you know. But he's such a great guy, man, on and off the pitch. He's going to be the next... Best goalkeeper in the world, trust me.
Yeah, I thought if Mendy didn't work out at Chelsea, I thought Chelsea would have spent a fortune trying to get him in goal. Yeah. But, you know, Mendy's done a great job.
He's done a great job. Yeah, fantastic job. Yeah.
And as you know, every match matters with Coral. So let's get your thoughts on the big one, Wednesday night at Wembley, England against Denmark.
I think that one is going to be a close one, and not only because I think Denmark known to be the underdog, just so they can just play freely. The amount of pressure that England have also on Wembley with the spectators. So I think it's just going to be an easy 1-0. I don't think it's going to be 3 or 4-0 whatsoever. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to leave it late. I think the goal will be coming in the second half. 1-0. Denmark
are really writing their own story this tournament, aren't they? Yeah. England have to use that crowd.
They will, Lins, and I think it'll be tight, but I think England will win 2-1. I think, and I agree, it'll open up the later the game goes on. You have to remember these lads now have played. This is the 6th game of the tournament in the so there's you'll see later on in the game mistakes creeping in, tired legs, lads like Bonucci. Like, I'm hoping Bonucci and Chiellini's legs catch up with him in the final when we play them. Do you know what I mean? You can't play that in that quality of games.
They don't need their legs; they'll just stick their head in the way anyway. It doesn't matter.
They're beasts, they're beasts.
But no Mancini is gonna rest them even maybe a day or 2 days before the game even gonna be played. He said, like, you don't have to train, just do your stuff.
Yeah,
He's,
that's
like,
clever, isn't it?
These guys, they don't need training anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're like 30 plus.
Yeah,
they've been everywhere in the world. They've won everything in the world.
Yeah.
So they know what they have to do. And Mancini only wants 110% commitment. And I think that's the same thing with England. I think Gareth knows his players. So when some players are tired, he's gonna leave a couple of them like just have a couple more days extra.
It's going crazy in the country now, though. I mean, the levels of giddiness are at a whole new level. We're at the point where even my mum is into it. Yeah. Politicians are pretending they like football now, which always happens.
Yeah. What about It's Coming Home in the Sweet Carolina songs? I can't hear it anymore. I love England, I love the fans, but It's Coming Home in Sweet Carolina. I cannot hear it anymore.
We always do the coming home thing, tongue in cheek, but this time it feels like it might actually be coming home.
I really hope
it does.
It actually could be.
I really hope so, yeah.
We need to be positive. Like I said, we are a positive podcast and it is coming home, Linz.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It is coming. I'm going to Wembley on Wednesday night.
So mad this time.
I'm on Wembley. I'm on Wembley. I will support you guys.
We're all there. We've got one. We've recruited another supporter.
We
should have got him. We should have got Nigel an England shirt.
Oh no.
We should get with Carl Walker on a base.
You can't go too far, Joe. You can't go too far. Yeah, you can't go too far. Now I will support them, boys. Definitely.
Brilliant. We love it. Well, you can back Italy's Immobile to score from inside the box and outside the box for 55-1. And if you think Wednesday will be Jack Grealish's time to shine, fingers crossed. Coral will give you odds of 28-1 if you think he'll score first in a 2-0 win for England. Nigel, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Great to see you.
Yes.
And Joe, we're going to be at Wembley. We're going to be back on the Zoom on Thursday with all our post-match reaction and analysis. Let's hope it's...
Lynn's is going to be so
It's
exciting.
a happy show.
Just don't know how excited
Are you going to wear an English shirt, by the way?
Of course. Of course, mate. I dug one out, didn't I, for the show? I had one. My sister-in-law, I give away everything. I had one England shirt. I can't wear my own shirts.
Why not?
No.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Wear your own shirt.
You should. You've got to do it.
All right. I'll think about it.
That's a retro. One of the retro shirts.
Yeah. You know, that's then you know you're old when you're getting described as a retro. You played in retro shirts.
I got retro shirts. Retro is last year. So don't feel too old. Don't feel too old.
Well, you can find us on Thursday on the Joe YouTube channel or wherever you find your podcasts. You've been listening to the All to Play For podcast brought to you by Joe and Coral.
You've been watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.